Hello everyone. Let us start with the next concept of insecticides and pesticides, that is fumigants. Now, fumigation is a method of pest control that completely fills an area with gaseous pesticides or fumigants to suffocate or poison the pests within. In this, what they do is it is going to act as a respiratory poison. In turn, the fumigation is left into the air so that once the insect respires, the insect dies. Now, what are these fumigants? Fumigants may be any volatile poisonous substances which are used to kill insects. They may be used to kill nematodes and other animals or plants that might damage the store foods or seeds, human dwellings, clothing and nursery stock. Now these fumigants can be used to kill rats also, and they may be used to kill cockroaches, and they may be used to kill various termites and so on and so forth. Now, if a component has to be considered as a fumigant, there should be few characteristics to this fumigation process. It should have a low cost per effective fumigation. That means per square meter, the cost should be less. It should be highly and acutely toxic to all the stages of target pest, but not unduly hazardous to man and its domestic animals. In this, the fumigant should attack the ovum also. It should be able to attack the pupa stage also. It should be able to attack the larva stage, and also it should be able to attack the adult stage. So all the stages of the insect should be attacked by the fumigant, and in turn it should not be very hazardous to man and the pets that man has. It must be highly volatile. So fumigant system should be highly volatile with a good ability to penetrate, but not be excessively soaked on and in the commodity. It should be volatile, but it should not penetrate into the commodity. Basically, it should be just in the air. Fumigation, the effectiveness is also important. Fumigant is absorbed by the insect tissue, which increases the rate of respiration, and due to lack of oxygen content it turns lethal. So as we have already seen that fumigation is nothing but it is a respiratory poison. So once the tissue or the insect tissue absorbs this respiratory poison, the rate of the respiration increases. And once the rate of the respiration increases, because there is very less oxygen content, it will turn lethal. So this is called as fumigants. Now, what are some common fumigants which are used to treat stored products or nursery stock? They may be hydrogen cyanide, naphthalene, nicotine and methyl bromide. Some of the fumigants are also soil fumigants. That is, these fumigants are added in the soil to kill nematocides. Now, the examples are methyl bromide, dichloropropane, propylene oxide, dibromochloropropane, organophosphate insecticides and chloropicrine. So some are common fumigants and some are soil fumigants which are added in the soil. Let us try to synthesize some of the fumigants. One of it is hydrogen cyanide. Methane reacts with ammonia in the presence of oxygen to give hydrogen cyanide with a 6 molecule of water. Now, hydrogen cyanide is a colorless or pale blue liquid or gas with a faint bitter almond-like odor. Hydrogen cyanide is a weak acid with a pKa value of 9.22 at 25 degrees. It is soluble in water and alcohol. Since hydrogen cyanide is soluble in water, it can be used as a spraying component. So, methane reacts with ammonia in the presence of oxygen to give hydrogen cyanide. Naphthalene can be one of the fumigant. Naphthalene is synthesized by a method called as Haworth method, in which benzene or substituted benzene reacts with succinic anhydride in the presence of AlCl3. This opens up the succinic anhydride system so that a substitution at the benzene system takes place. Basically, benzene attacks the carbonyl carbon and there is a long chain which is formed. In the presence of zinc and HCl, one of the carbonyl carbon is reduced. So this particular system, in the previous system, there is a carbonyl carbon which gets reduced by zinc and HCl. There is easily a presence of carboxylic group now. This carboxylic group can be removed with one molecule of water because of the presence of concentrated H2SO4. Concentrated H2SO4 acts as a cyclizing agent. By the removal of a molecule of water, we will be forming a cyclohexanone type of moiety. Again, in the presence of zinc and HCl, carbonyl carbon is reduced so that we get a cyclohexane moiety. In the presence of selenium and upon heating, aromatization takes place to get substituted naphthalene. So, Haworth method of synthesis of naphthalene is nothing but substituted benzene reacts with succinic anhydride in the presence of AlCl3 so that the long chain is introduced. In the presence of zinc and HCl, one of the carbonyl group is reduced. Once this is done, in the presence of concentrated H2SO4, removal of a molecule of water cyclizes the system so that we get cyclohexanone system. Again, in the presence of zinc HCl, carbonyl carbon is reduced and we get a cyclohexane system. Upon reacting or upon heating in the presence of selenium, aromatization takes place to get substituted naphthalene. So the properties of naphthalene are, it is a colorless solid which forms shiny flake crystals. Its melting point is 80.2 degrees and boiling point is 217. It has a familiar odor of mothballs. It is very volatile and it sublimes slowly at room temperature. Naphthalene is insoluble in water, but it is moderately soluble in alcohol. It is very soluble in ether and benzene. It burns with a smoky flame. That means it is an aromatic compound. It is insoluble in water, so it has to be used in some kind of organic solvents only. Naphthalene gives the usual aromatic electrophilic substitution reaction. It is going to act similar to that of benzene system. Propylene oxide. So the next fumigant we would try to synthesize would be propylene oxide. Propylene, in the presence of hypochloric acid, it gets converted to propylene chlorohydrin. That means double bond of this propylene system is attacked by HOCl. OH and Cl gets introduced across the double bond. This will be converted to a three-membered ring called as propylene oxide by removal of a molecule of HCl. And then when this propylene oxide, that is a three-membered ring which is looking like an oxirane ring system, this propylene oxide can be cleaved in the presence of water to give me propylene glycol. That is, OH groups gets introduced between CH2OH and CHOH, which is propylene glycol. Basically, once this propylene oxide is added to water during fumigation, propylene glycol is going to act as a fumigant, but propylene oxide is actually synthesized. Now, this is a colorless volatile liquid with an odor resembling ether. It is produced on a large scale industrially. It is a colorless liquid. Melting point is 111.9 and hence a propylene glycol can be utilized as a fumigant system. The next fumigant system would be chloropicrin. Now this, in the presence of nitromethane and sodium hypochlorite, trichloronitromethane or chloropicrin can be synthesized. Chloropicrin is nothing but nitromethane reacts with sodium hypochlorite, which gives me trichloronitromethane or chloropicrin. Chloropicrin appears as a slightly oily, colorless to yellow liquid with a strong irritating odor. It is a non-combustible system. It is denser than water. Vapors are poisonous by inhalation and irritate eyes, nose and throat. That means sometimes this is going to affect the man also. Once we have tried to synthesize the fumigant system, we would also want to understand some of it spectroscopically. Now C triple bond N can be seen in IR spectroscopy. In the naphthalene system, this can be established by NMR system, where all the protons will lie in the aromatic system between 7 to 8 or 6 to 8. C double bond C can be seen in an IR system. In propylene oxide system, we can observe that because there is a presence of an oxirane system, all the protons will go to downfield shift in an NMR system. In chloropicrin system, because there is a presence of chlorine in an IR system, in a fingerprint region, we can observe that there will be certain bands with respect to chlorine. In an mass spectrometry, we would be observing chlorine in the ratio of 3:1. Not only that, there is one proton system. That means there is no proton system associated. There is no proton system associated in which the starting material already had a proton system that will be lost in my final component. So this particular system cannot be established by a proton NMR, but C13 system can be utilized and it is going to give me a complete downfield shift in an C13 system. The next category is of the insecticides and pesticides is called as nematicides. Now nematicides is basically utilized to kill nematodes. This is utilized to kill the category of the insects called as nematodes, which are roundworms. A nematode is a type of a chemical pesticide used to kill plant-based parasitic nematodes, that is plant on the plants whichever nematodes will attack. Nematodes have tended to be broad spectrum toxicants possessing high volatility or other properties promoting migration through the soil. So these nematodes, they migrate through the soil. So hence these nematicides have to be introduced in the soil so that they can kill the nematodes. Nematicides, they are also less commonly called as nematocides. Nematicides is the currently used term, whereas in an older system it was called as nematocides. These are the chemical agents used to control parasitic worms such as roundworms and threadworms. So these parasitic worms, they are present in the soil and they can be killed by the nematicides system. Nematicides are used in various forms from centuries. They are some of the most widely used pesticides worldwide. So commonly used pesticides are these nematicide system. Nematicides, they have been classified into 5 categories called as halogenated hydrocarbon, organophosphates, isothiocyanates, carbamates and botanical system. So this is the classification for nematicide system. Under halogenated hydrocarbon, an example can be methyl bromide. So this methyl bromide is synthesized by reacting methyl alcohol in the presence of bromine and sulfur to give methyl bromide and a molecule of water and H2SO4. So in this, how they do is they take up methyl alcohol in the presence of bromine and sulfur, methyl bromide is synthesized. So what are the properties for this methyl bromide? They are non-inflammable, colorless, it has got low boiling point, chemical with a high vapor pressure, that is 227 kPa at 25 degrees, and reasonable water solubility. This is very important, that is water solubility is reasonable, that is 13.4 gram per liter can be dissolved. It is often applied by shank injection as a liquid. That means once a pressurized cylinder is filled and then it is injected in the soil, which quickly vaporizes and diffuses in the soil. So in terms of spectroscopic analysis, bromine can be seen in IR in the fingerprint region. Bromine can be observed in mass spectrometry as 1:1, and this CH3, these protons can be seen in NMR with a downfield shift because of the presence of bromide system or bromine system. Next category is isothiocyanates. Example is metham sodium. Metham sodium can be prepared from nitromethane, carbon disulfide and sodium hydroxide. So nitromethane reacts with carbon disulfide and NaOH, which is going to give me metham sodium. In this, what happens is the system of metham sodium is a salt, that is S minus and Na plus. So S minus here, C double bond S and S minus Na plus is going to attack on this nitro group. So once what happens is, first this nitro group, it gets reduced into NH2. That means nitromethane is getting converted to it is converted into methane amine or aminomethane. So carbon disulfide, it reduces nitromethane to CH3NH2 and then the reaction takes place. So excess of CH2 is added. So methane amine, that means first carbon disulfide, it reduces this nitromethane to CH3NH2, then further reaction gives me methane sodium. Now in this C double bond S is observed in IR. It is going to give me also NH in IR in the range of 3300. So methane sodium is stable, it is dry crystalline state and it's concentrated in aqueous solution. In solution, methane sodium has a vapor pressure of 21 milligram at 25 degrees. Methane sodium is very stable at pH greater than 8.8, but at pH 7 and below it readily hydrolyzes. So it has to be utilized under pH of 8.8. So before I move on, I should say that carbon disulfide reduces this nitromethane into aminomethane and then further methane sodium is synthesized. Next category is called as organophosphates, under which I am trying to synthesize dichlorphentheone. 2,4-dichlorophenol, the starting material is 2,4-dichlorophenol. It reacts with ortho-ortho-diethyl chlorothiiophosphate to give me dichlorphentheone. What happens is this proton is removed and the attack of this ortho-ortho-dichlorothiophosphate takes place to form an ethereal linkage to give me dichlorphentheone. This is generally considered to be an organophosphate pesticide, although in strict chemical sense it is a phosphorothioate. That means it is actually a phosphorothioate because most organophosphate pesticides, they biodegrade relatively quickly. They are generally regarded as safe for use. So dichlorphentheone is a biodegradable component. So in this 2,4-dichlorophenol reacts with ortho-ortho-dichlorothiophosphate to give dichlorphentheone. There is a presence of 2Cl in mass spectrometry. I can observe 3:1. There is a presence of these ethyl systems and there is a presence of the aromatic system. In an NMR also they can be established. Aromatic protons will be giving in the range of 6 to 8 and these ethyl system CH2 CH3 system will give me a downfield shift because of the presence of oxygen. Carbamates, the other system that we try to synthesize in nematicides is carbamates. Common example is adicarb. In this 2-methyl-2-methyl-thiopropanol dioxime, that is, this is an oxime system, reacts with phosgene. So that now what happens is NOH, loss of this proton, now this oxygen will go and attack onto the phosgene system, so that we will be getting a acyl chloride type of system, OCOCl, releasing a molecule of HCl. This intermediate reacts with methyl amine so that now there is a loss of this chlorine to get NCH3. So this is called as adicarb or it is also called as aldicarb. 2-methyl-2-methyl-thiopropanol dioxime reacts with phosgene so that I will get introduced with the COCl content, removal of an HCl. This reacts with methane amine or aminomethane to give me an aldicarb. It is a carbamate insecticide which is active substance in the pesticide Temic. It is commonly called as Temic. It is effective against thrips, aphids, spider mites. Some physical and chemical properties of aldicarb are, they have got relative molecular mass of 190. The form is colorless crystals, odorless or slight sulfurous smell is present. Because there is a presence of sulfur, sulfurous smell is present. Melting point is 100 degrees. The final component we can see that in the system of NMR, 3 methyl groups, there are 4 methyl groups, they come as a singlet because they have got different kind of magnetic field and different kind of magnetic field is present. We can also see that this proton, it is going to come in a downfield shift because there is the presence of nitrogen. I can easily observe C double bond OO, which is going to act as an ester component in an IR, and then it is going to give me very high in terms of around 1750. Now I can also observe NH around 3000 in an IR component. I can observe C single bond S in an IR system. In the final system of nematicides, these are called as botanicals, which are extracted from the plants. The common examples are called as trithionine system and bisthionine system. These are extracted by the plant systems and they can be utilized as nematocides. Thank you.